Good afternoon, students. This is Mr. Lopez. I want to welcome everyone to the Summer Bridge Virtual Academy Character Education. Um, this is something I'm still getting used to, making the videos and so forth. So rather than doing a lesson this first week, what I want to do is kind of walk through this PowerPoint and talk about what the character education classes are going to look like. So let's take a look at the PowerPoint. It says, "Welcome to Character Education with Mr. Lopez." So the character education structure, or how it's going to be run, is the very first thing we're going to do each week is start with something called a weekly check-in. If you're in one of my groups, you definitely know what this is, but most of you are not in my group, so we're going to talk about what a weekly check-in is here in just a minute. Okay, the second thing in the character education class is going to be a journal. It'll be optional. That means you'll have the choice of whether or not you want to write a journal for that week or not. The third thing, of course, is our lesson, our character education lesson, and then the last thing will be a check on learning quiz. It's not for a grade, but it's just going to be something to help you remember what you learned from that lesson. All right, let's talk about the weekly check-in. So the weekly check-in is just a tool that I want to teach everybody on how to self-assess. That means to just stop and think about how you're feeling. And how you're going to do that is you're going to rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 4 in 3 different areas: on your stress, your energy, and your happiness. Now, stress, is, if you remember, is just what we call bad feelings. So being worried, being mad, being sad about something, we call that stress. Your energy is just how awake you feel. If you're very tired, or if you're in the middle, or if you're wide awake, or if you're hyper, that's your energy. And then happiness is just kind of your overall mood. Whether you're feeling kind of grumpy, or whether you're in the middle, or if you're very happy about something, happiness is kind of your overall mood. So you're going to rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 4. 0 is the lowest. That means none at all. 1 is pretty low. 2 is medium. 3 is pretty high, and I know it's cut off, but 4 is the highest. So you can rate yourself on each one of those things. So for example, I would say for me, my stress today is pretty low. So I'll give myself a 1 for my stress. My energy, I've been a little tired today, probably about in the middle, so maybe a 2. And then my happiness, overall I've been in a pretty good mood this week, so I would say 3. So as far as rating myself today, I would say 1 stress, 2 energy, 3 happiness, and that's it. That's how you do it. Let's go on to the next part of the weekly check-in. So the second part of the weekly check-in is doing a high point and a low point. And what the high point is, it's you're going to have to write about something fun that you did this week, or something fun that you're looking forward to. And so yes, you are going to have to write a little bit, but it's pretty easy. It's all I want you to do is think about something fun that you did this week. Could be anything. Maybe you went for a bike ride, maybe you hung out with some friends, or went somewhere with your family, or something that you're looking forward to. Maybe you've got something coming up this weekend that you're really looking forward to, and that we call that a high point. A low point is anything stressful or bad that happened, and again, that could be any number of different things. But if you don't have a low point, or you don't want to share one, that's fine. Okay, but everybody is going to have to do a high point. But if you don't have a low point, or don't want to share one, you don't have to. So as far as the check-in goes, again, it's just rating yourself on your stress, your energy, and your happiness, and then writing a high point. And if you have a low point, you want to share one, you can. Let's go on. Let's talk about the journal. So journaling is optional, like I mentioned. That means you can do it if you want, but you don't have to. Okay, but I did want to give everybody the opportunity to write down in a journal, any kind of thoughts that they want to share, anything they want to write about is fine. If they can't think of anything, I will write a journal prompt. That means I will give you a topic or something that you can write about. But again, if you don't want to do a journal, that's fine. If you do, you can either use the journal prompt, or you can just write about whatever you want to. I do want everybody to know that both the journal, whatever you write in there, and the check-in, as far as your high point and low point, and your self-assessment, your ratings, it's completely confidential. That means I'm the only one that's going to be reading it, and I'm not going to be sharing it with anybody else. So those things are confidential. So let's go on to the next part. Let's go on. So the third part is our character education lesson. There's only going to be about 3 or 4 lessons, but and I don't have the topics quite yet, but you'll probably be familiar with some, and there might be some new things as well. Okay, but I don't have a schedule for that just yet. I am working on that right now, and we'll start our first lesson next week. So the third thing is our check on learning quiz. This is going to be at the end of every lesson. Again, it's not for a grade, but it's only to help you remember what you learn. Okay, it will be a multiple choice. It'll be pretty easy, and I'll check them and I'll give you feedback as far as your answers. So at the end of every lesson, you can expect to take a quiz. So the very last thing is, if anybody has any questions about a character education lesson, I'll see if I can do a comment section where you can ask a question, and then I'll get back to you the following week with the answers. So just in case anybody has any questions, I wanted to try to give everybody an opportunity to ask them. So that's pretty much it. That's what the character educations are going to look like for the Summer Bridge Virtual Academy. And next week will be we'll be doing our first lesson, and I will see you then. Bye-bye.